Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a video on things that I wish I knew before my dietetic internship. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I finished my dietetic internship in December of 2017, so it's been a few months since I've been done with my internship, and I really wanted to do a video like this because I know that when I was going into my internship, when I was still a student, I was really nervous and I really wanted to know like tips and tricks and like things that I should know before I started my internship, but I couldn't really find a whole lot of videos out there on this topic, and a lot of them that I did find kind of just scared me. So I wanted to do a video that was kind of like tips on like doing your best during your internship and making the most of it. I don't want to scare you guys. I want you guys to have your best experience during your internship. I hope that this video will help you in some way and not scare you off from the internship or make you feel like it's gonna be the worst time in your life, but also kind of like let you in on my personal experience with it and things that I wish I knew beforehand that would have helped me a little more before starting into my internship, if that makes sense. I hope that made sense. So if you're interested in more videos like this one, or more videos on nutrition topics and tone it up stuff and just how to live a balanced, mindful, healthy lifestyle, then please subscribe to my channel and you'll see more videos like this. And if you like this video and you found some of these tips useful, then please give this video a thumbs up and that would help me out a ton. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the video and talk about things I wish I knew before starting my dietetic internship. So the first tip I have for you is to save. I know you were expecting that one because if you know anything about the internships, you'll know that you don't get paid during the internship, and so it's a struggle. You either have to have money set aside from a savings or that you built up yourself, or you have to have someone that's willing to fund you. Maybe you have a family that is willing to support you during your internship. From my personal experience, I had to pay bills. I was not fortunate enough to have someone paying for me, so I had to have money set aside for this, and I had to really budget and know what I had and what I could spend per month to make it last almost a full year without having any income. Don't get me started on how that is totally not fair for dietetic interns. That could be a totally different rant video, but for now I am gonna just talk about the ways that I coped with the fact that we don't get paid a single penny during the internship. This tip may not be for you because I know some people get their internships paid for by their parents, or they have some way of paying for it. So if you want to just skip through this tip, then you can, but budget is good for just about anybody. These are some of the things that I found useful. First of all, I used apps like Ibotta to get cash back on my groceries, and Ibotta, I know a lot of you probably know or have heard of what it is, but you get just money back either on, I think you can do on PayPal, you can get money back at like a Starbucks card, you can get money back for Walmart or Target or any of the stores that you shop at normally. You can get a little gift card back. So that is one way to just kind of double up your money almost and save a little. I also used a lot of online coupons if I ever needed something online. Retail Me Not, they always have coupons wherever you go, so I always searched that before I bought anything, and that saved me a lot of money as well. Also, another way to save money is just to use your notes app or an app called AnyList, and this will help you make a grocery list, and you know, whenever you plan out your grocery list, you're less inclined to buy things that you wouldn't normally buy. So I use this every time I go shopping still, even though I'm not an intern, because it just helps save money overall. Also, if you're interested in how I kind of tracked my budget, I am a very simple budget person. I found when I tried to get too complicated and use too many crazy apps, it just kind of got confusing and I stopped using it and I wasn't as accountable for my spending. But when I just do a pen and paper method and just kind of note what I spend as I spend it, it's much easier for me and for my brain to process. So very simple. I would just take what I know that my income was and then kind of allot. Sorry, I have a little fuzzy came in my nose. So I would just take what my income was going to be, or what I was gonna allow my budget to be that month, and then I would divide it up into categories of bills, fun, and savings. To be honest, I didn't save a whole lot during my internship because I was using my savings. Most of it was just allotting a little bit of money for myself for fun and then paying bills and making sure that I was getting, you know, the groceries that I needed and the things that I needed. I can link below some of the templates that I use for my budgeting, so you can use them too if you find them them useful. Otherwise, just look on Pinterest, do a little typing, and figure out which one looks doable to you and just try it out. Okay, so on to tip number 2. Number 2 on the list of things that I wish I knew before my internship started is you're gonna be stressed out and it's gonna be exhausting, but it's all gonna be worth it in the end. I think this is really important to just comprehend before you start your internship, because if you go in expecting that it's all gonna be just the best time of your life, I think that it's kind of gonna set you up for a reality check once you get in there, at least from my experience. Not that it wasn't fun whatsoever, or not that I didn't have really good days and really bad days and really in between boring days. It's just that you kind of have to set yourself up to know that it's gonna be exhausting and that you're gonna put yourself at your limit some days. That sounds pessimistic, but for me, knowing that would just help me process it beforehand, and it would just help me process that it wasn't just gonna be kittens and rainbows like the whole time and like all that fun stuff. But nonetheless, I digress. Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Big Magic, says in her book that everything in life has a shit sandwich, and you kind of have to choose which shit sandwich is worth eating, which one is worth taking and biting into and enjoying that bite. That might sound a little raunchy for some of you, but like what I mean by that is, if you want to be a doctor, shit sandwich. If you want to be a mechanic, you have a shit sandwich. If you want to be a dietitian, you're gonna have a shit sandwich. Everything has its struggles. No matter what you choose, no matter how easy of a path you think you're choosing, it's gonna have a struggle that comes along with it, and it's gonna have its consequences. It's gonna have its benefits too, but you have to choose a path in life that you're willing to take the shit sandwich for, and that you're willing to take a big bite out of it for, because I know, I can tell you, and you probably already know as an intern or a future intern, a dietetic student, whatever you are at this point in time, you know that dietetics has a shit sandwich. And to me, I wouldn't struggle for anything less than for being a dietitian and for spreading my love of nutrition and spreading my knowledge to others. Like, that is what I live for, and that's what I know is my passion in life. But if that's not you, maybe dietetics isn't for you. If you don't want to have a residency, if you don't want to go through the long hours, the sleepless nights, then maybe you don't want to be a doctor. You know, if you're not hands-on, if you don't want to get dirty, if you don't want to fix, cars or whatever you fix, maybe you don't want to be a mechanic. Basically, all in all, we're saying that nothing in life is perfectly peachy all the time, and that you have to choose something in life that's just going to make you happy. And it's not always going to feel perfect every step of the way, but ultimately it will if it's the thing that you're passionate about. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I didn't ramble on too much about that. Also, something too important on the same note to remember is just remember your why. I think sometimes during the internship I lost sight of my why, and that made it really hard for me to get through the day. But when you really keep in mind like what you want to do at the end, or what the reason you started was, it really helps things. Like, for example, the reason that I started dietetics is because I had an eating disorder, and after I hit rock bottom with that eating disorder, I had to train myself of how to actually eat healthy and think mindfully and do it in the right way. And once I learned that, it was just like a snowball effect, and I knew that I wanted to change people's lives through nutrition. Remembering that every day really keeps me passionate and really keeps me happy with knowing that I'm on the right path. So reconnecting with your why is going to help you in the same way that my why is going to help me get through the days that are just seemingly impossible to get through. Tip 3 is every day is going to be different. I'm the first to admit that I'm not the best at going with the flow. I kind of like to know exactly what's going to happen before everything happens, which is just telling you it's almost impossible to do. But I think if I kind of let that go more at the beginning and just went with the flow a little better, that I would have had an easier time getting through certain rotations. So just as much as possible, go with the flow and know that every day is going to change, and every day is going to be like a fun new adventure, and just think of it like that instead of worrying what's next and knowing exactly what you're going to do the next day, because everybody's experience is different. Even if you talk to an intern that did the same hospital as you, same rotations as you, their experience is going to be different than yours. So just keep that in mind. Tip number 4 is to have supporters and reach out to them as often as possible. This could be your friends, your family, your boyfriend or girlfriend, your fellow dietetic interns. Reach out to people as often as you can, because most of the time, like if you're talking to your dietetic friends, they're going through the same thing as you. And even if your friends and your family who are not interns are not knowing exactly what you're saying or exactly what you're going through, they're going to be there to support you and help you along the way, and they really do want to help. I found it most easy to talk to my dietetic friends about the struggles of the internship, and then when I was just feeling low or feeling this way or that way, I would go to other friends or my family and talk to them about less dietetic oriented stuff, just kind of how I was feeling in general. And I really had a good support system during my time. Even though your friends and your family aren't going to know exactly what you're going through, they're still going to help you and they're still going to support you and motivate you to keep doing your best during your internship. Some weeks, some months, I really did a bad job of this and I kind of bottled things up inside and then I exploded on certain people. I think it's just always better if you be yourself, let your emotions out in a healthy way, and just communicate them with the people that you love, so you don't find yourself getting into arguments with people that you don't want to get into arguments with, and you don't find yourself, you know, isolating yourself from your friends and your family just because you have a lot going on. Tip number 5 is not my favorite tip because it kind of sounds a little pessimistic, but nonetheless, my 5th thing that I wish I understood before starting my internship is that you may not be fully appreciated. I hate to say this and I hate to sound harsh with it, but I think that it's true. As an intern, you're kind of at the bottom of the food chain and you really don't have a lot to go off of. You're a newbie and you're starting and you're learning everything from everyone else. So you don't always get appreciated as much as you should, even though you're working really hard. You can be the most perfect intern, you can do everything right, and you still might not be appreciated. So just don't take it to heart. So one constructive thing to take from this though is go into it with the attitude of, I'm an intern, I'm here, I'm present. As long as I'm doing my personal best in this moment, it doesn't matter what anyone says or how anyone treats me. I know that it will be hard on some days if you feel like someone isn't treating you right and you feel like you deserve better than that. Just try not to take it to heart and try to remember why you're there and try to just keep a positive attitude, because, you know, sometimes people don't realize how harsh they seem or how they're coming off to interns, especially. It's notorious in hospitals. People are a little cold and people aren't, you know, always warm and fuzzy. So just keep this in mind, and I hope that you have the best experience possible with this. But it's just kind of things that I wish I knew ahead of time so I wouldn't take them so personally. Number 6, you're not going to have time for everything, so prioritization is going to be extremely important during your internship. One thing that I did that really kept me on top of things is every single Sunday morning or Sunday night, I would take 20 minutes to an hour sometimes, depending on how busy my week was, and I would plan things out. So I have a happy planner, and that thing's a lifesaver, by the way. And I would just write down what my week looked like. If I was going to a different site, I would write the address down of that site, what time I should be there, just kind of things that I really wanted to keep prioritized during that week. If I was going to go out and spend some time with my other intern friends, I would schedule that in, because, you know, you have to take time for that sometimes too. But this kind of helped me organize my thoughts, and it also helped me keep just accountable for what was going on, and it also kind of eased my anxiety. Planning is something that just helps me see the big picture, and it helps me feel a little more comforted, if that makes sense. Just something that, you know, works for me. But again, it's whatever works for you. If you want to plan things in your phone, if that works better, or just kind of have a vague idea of what's going on in the week, anything that's going to help you be a little more prepared is going to help you prioritize, and that's going to help you save a lot of time in the long run. And also, I just want to note that it's important to squeeze in that time for your friends and your family. Like sometimes I would have a $3 bottle of wine and go over to one of my intern friends' houses and just have a couple hours of fun. You don't always have to be 100% on top of your work, because sometimes you're going to get more work done faster if you have that night out with your friends than if you didn't. I know if I work straight throughout the whole week and I don't have any fun, I'm a lot slower than if I go out with my friends for a couple hours and then come back and work. There's definitely something to that. Make time for you, make time for your friends and the people you love, because I promise you that will help you, and that'll help relationships and just everything in general. And number 7, and this one is a really important one, is if you're really struggling, try to see if your hospital or wherever you're at has an employee assistance program. Because even though you're not technically an employee as an intern, or at least I wasn't considered an employee when I was an internship at my hospital, they still allowed me in their employee assistance program, and I was able to see a licensed therapist and talk to them a few times for free. At the hospital I was at, they allowed up to 10 times times of free therapy sessions that were hour long, and I really wish I knew this ahead of time, because I think the earlier on that I would have done this, the easier my internship would have been for me, because you know, there's something to being able to talk some of your stresses and anxieties and worries out with a therapist, and someone that knows kind of how to dig deep in your brain and pick it through and question some of your negative thoughts. So this was so important for me, and just kind of like touching a little on a deeper subject, because I kind of just threw that therapy thing at you. I really struggled with depression during my internship. This is not to scare anybody, not to make you think that just because you're going into an internship you're going to face depression. I have a predisposition for anxiety. I have a predisposition for obviously eating disorder tendencies, unfortunately, and depression is one of those things that like comes a little easier, I think, to me, unfortunately, than it would to other people. So this may not be the case for any of you. I hope it's not, but if it is, just know that there are resources out there, whether they're through your university if you're part of a coordinated program, or whether they're through the hospital that you're at. Look for those resources and go to your preceptor or someone that you trust, a professor, anybody that you think can help you and connect you to those resources. Also, you can just contact HR if you really don't know anybody in the hospital, and they can usually direct you to the employee assistance programs. Don't let your depression or anxieties just bottle up inside of you, because that's not what we want. You know, we're all about nutrition, but unfortunately sometimes we let our health and wellness go because we're always stressed and we're always work, or worry, and that's not healthy either. We can be eating healthy, we can be exercising, but if we're not taking care of our brains, then are we really being healthy? I hope that some of these tips helped you, and I hope that I didn't make you worry about anything. I hope, if anything, it eased some of your anxieties about the internship. If you have any further questions, feel free to comment below. I always comment back and do the best I can with helping you guys out. If you have any other video ideas for me for next time, then please leave me a comment below and I will work on that for the future. Thank you so much for sticking around for this video, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!